The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is who's in, who's out, and everything you need to know about this game. So, Pittsburgh Steelers football is back today at 7 p.m. Eastern Time as the Steelers will travel to Jacksonville and take on the Jaguars at Everbank Stadium for the first preseason game of the spring. But first, before I let you know who's playing and who won't be, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, most of the players in this week's preseason game will be missing, and it will mostly be the backups. So let me just go through the list of players who won't be playing. So far, we know at least 20 of them. And we're going to start off with quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who will miss this week's game, along with wide receiver DK Metcalf, tight ends Jonnu Smith and Pat Freiermuth, offensive lineman Isaac Seumalo, running back Jalen Warren, cornerback Darius Slay, Joey Porter Jr., and Jalen Ramsey, safety Deshaun Elliott, linebacker Patrick Queen, defensive lineman Cameron Hayward, outside linebackers TJ Watt and Nick Herbig, and I would throw in obviously Alex Highsmith as well because he's dealing with a groin injury, but he wasn't listed by Mike Tomlin. Also Chris Boswell, he will miss this week's game. Kelvin Austin III will miss it due to injury. Cornerbacks Corey Trice Jr. and Dante Kent will most likely miss the game as well due to injury. And finally, Will Howard, who will miss it due to injury as well. So that is around 20 players who will be out for the Pittsburgh Steelers and won't be participating in the week 1 of the preseason against Jacksonville. And it's a shame because obviously we want to see these players in action, but because it's the first preseason game and the Steelers still will have 2 others to play, we will more than likely see them in the next one, and they didn't want to rush them onto the field for the very first game. So it makes sense why Mike Tomlin is holding these players out and the Steelers will go with the backups. The backups will have more opportunity to earn a spot on this team with more reps and things of that nature. But obviously, Pittsburgh Steelers football is back, and it doesn't matter who's on the field. We will see these players. It doesn't matter if they're backups in a regular season game when the season actually starts. So this is to see what they're made of, who will make this team, and who we'll see down the road. And obviously, it'll give us a better understanding of how far this team has in depth and how far they could go throughout the regular season. So this is just a good opportunity to see the Pittsburgh Steelers football back, obviously, in the spring. And it will be against more than likely the Jacksonville Jaguars starters as well. Because we know that Trevor Lawrence, he will be playing in this week's game. And also Travis Hunter as well will be playing in this week's game. The rookie who plays both defense and offense. So it's going to be a good test to see these backups so go against the starters. And if you earn the spot on this team, this could be a week to do so because you're going against actual real competition, not just backups versus backups. It's Steelers backups versus the Jaguars starters. So this is where these players who've shown out in practice thus far, like Roc Taylor, can make their impression on this team and hopefully make it. But not even just that, we still get to see the rookies who are on this team for the very first time. Probably Derek Harmon, see what he has to offer at the defense line position for the first time in a real game at the NFL level. We also get to see more of Caleb Johnson because Jalen Warren won't be playing. So we get to see what he has to offer after the Steelers let go of Najee Harris. Can Caleb Johnson take over as a starter eventually, or at least split carries with Jalen Warren? Let's see what he has to offer because he really showed out this far in camp and through all the offseason drills so far. So hopefully Caleb Johnson can be the next guy up. We also get to see Yahya Black. We get to see all these other rookies take place and take form on this team and see what they have to offer if they could be the next stars in the NFL for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because this is where it starts. This is where we get to see all the little things that players do and see that potential in them and let us build as fans and enjoy them for the long as they are Pittsburgh Steelers. So this is where it starts, the very first preseason game, seeing that potential in someone. And it's just glad to have Pittsburgh Steelers football back, even though it is the preseason. Seeing these players play together and go against real competition now is a great sight to see. And we're going to get to see that in week 1 of the preseason. So in terms of actually winning the game, it'll be tough at the very beginning because obviously the Jaguars will be deploying their starters, like I said, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Hunter, and the other guys. And it's going to be going against the Steelers' second team defense most of them. So it's going to be really interesting to see who steps up on the second team defense, if they're able to hold the Jaguars to not be able to score points, and who's able to show out. Because when you're a backup or expected to be on the edge of this team, making plays against first stringers, it bodes well for your chances to make this roster, or at least prove to Mike Tomlin that you're capable. So if they're able to make plays against the first team, it'll bode well for them. And it gives you an extra edge as well in terms of competitive nature. When you know you're on the edge of that roster, you know you're going against real competition, you're trying to make that play. You're trying to have a chip on your shoulder each and every play to go out and prove yourself. So it really helps the Pittsburgh Steelers in terms of competitiveness going into this game. But on the other hand, in terms of winning the game and stopping the Jaguars at the beginning of the game, it will be tougher because they're going against starters. But all in all, I think the Steelers could get this job done. The Steelers have a lot of depth on this team. Just from a Steelers fan perspective, when looking at who's on this team, we know the guys' names, we know what they're capable of. So hopefully the Steelers are able to get the job done, even though it's just preseason. Obviously, we want to win. As a fan, you always want to win games, and the Steelers winning week 1 of the preseason will obviously be a good thing. But on the other hand, we've seen this before, where Steelers win games in the preseason, put up yards in the preseason, put up touchdowns, put up points, and then when it comes to the regular season, they stall out. So on the other hand, this really doesn't mean much. It just means much in terms of trying to make this roster and prove your worth to the coaches. So hopefully these players are able to do what they set out to do, make this team. But now it's our turn to just sit back and watch Steelers football be back. We waited for this time all offseason with all of the draft, with all of free agency, with all of the rumors, trades, everything like that. We've been waiting for it all. We got a sneak preview with training camp, but now it's the real deal in terms of the preseason and actual competitive games going on. So Steelers football's back, first week of the preseason in the spring, and against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. So who are the keys to the game if the Steelers want to win? Well, it's going to be Caleb Johnson, just to see what he's able to do, obviously. And also Roc Taylor on the offense side of the ball, because he had such a good camp. If he continues it, he could probably make this team. And also on the defense side of the ball, if Derek Harmon plays a lot, let's see what he has to offer. Yaya Black as well, being a monster on the inside. And just these players in general on the edge of this roster trying to make this team. So those are the keys to the game and people to watch for the Steelers side of the ball. And to be honest with you, watching the Jaguars offense go against this defense will be interesting in the first quarter. Because Travis Hunter, I want to see him play cornerback and I want to see him play wide receiver as well, just from a fan perspective. See if he can actually do both good, competitively, and not have to take breaks because he's tired on one side of the ball compared to the other. So that's what I'm going to be looking out for this week's game. But that's it for me. And let me hear your thoughts down in the comments below. What are your keys to this game? Who are the players you're most excited to see and will keep your eye on? And also, who is on the edge of this roster that you want to show out so they can make this team? Also, let me hear your thoughts down in the comments below about the score prediction. Who do you believe wins this game? Do you believe it's the Steelers or the Jacksonville Jaguars? Me personally, even though Jacksonville's rolling with their starters, I believe the Steelers will come out aggressive, and they're going to show up, and we're going to be shocked by how well they perform against the Jacksonville Jaguars starters. But anyway, that's just my thoughts. I believe the Steelers win this game, and let's go with a score of 27-20 for the Steelers. A very convincing touchdown, 7-point win. But anyway, also, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis reports. Everything surrounding this team, I've covered it this offseason. And football's now back, but that doesn't mean I'm stopping covering news, because every new player has been introduced to Steeler Nation on this channel. So go ahead and check it out, and I'll continue doing so for player cutdowns and new players we add to this team as well. And every new rumor and every game will be covered on the channel. So make sure you stay tuned for the best spot for Pittsburgh Steelers news as the season goes along. And I'll see you guys all later. Until tomorrow's video, I'm out. Peace.